Hi everybody, it's Carrie and welcome back to another video. Oh, goodness gracious guys, it has been a hot minute since I have been on a camera talking for a YouTube video. I mean, I kind of feel a little bit weird because it has been a little bit. Not that I haven't been recording things, I've been focusing a lot, I feel like, on short, content recently on TikTok and doing short videos on my YouTube, but long format videos I haven't really been doing because I have just been so incredibly busy. So if you guys don't know me, my name is Carrie. I run Traveling Pony Studios, which is a small little crochet business that I started, well, I think this will be my second year crocheting in July. So I started it 1.5 years ago. It's kind of grown into something more and it will continue to grow into something even bigger this year, of course. I do all types of videos. I mean, when I can actually record, I do markets, customs, pattern testing. I mean, pretty much everything you can kind of think of, I try and do it. So one of the reasons why I haven't been able to record that much YouTube stuff is just the editing. I have my first market of the season, April 12th, so I'm super excited to be doing a market again. It has been a couple months. My last market was in the middle of November, I believe, and so it's been a little bit. My market schedule is just very different this year. I pretty much did a market almost every single month last year except January and February. This year that is not the case. I'm gonna have an April market, a May market, and I'm taking June and July off. It is summertime in the south. It gets pretty hot. My numbers last year weren't horrible, but I feel like the big markets aren't really happening that time, and I have a whole nother side project that if I'm kind of thinking the time's going to be kind of lining up with that June-July date, so it will be really good for me to have no markets those months and to be able to focus on getting everything completely set up for that new business that you guys might know about. I'm usually pretty good about trying not to stress myself out too much, but that definitely didn't happen this year. I've been doing a ton of pattern testing recently, as you guys know. I finished up pretty much all of my pattern testing, which was great, but I ended up taking on 2 customs and they were both pretty big. I'm working on finishing up the first custom right now, which I will show you guys. The first one I have here is just an arrangement of roses. I still have a couple more roses that I need to make, and I have talked about this person before. This is somebody who gets these roses made for their plays and everything, and so they get the roses done and all of the colors to resemble the plays and musicals, and then on the leaves they stitch like a little, I don't know exactly what it is, piece of fabric that has the musical name on it. They contacted me again. I just did an order for them probably like a month and a half ago, but they contacted me again and I had a little bit less time than I typically would like. So I had about a week and a half, and I have a couple more days until they need them. So I have just a few more roses to finish up. So I should be able to get them done probably today, tomorrow or something for that order to be done. And then I have another order that I'll show you guys. This is the first part of the order. I still have some things to finish up here, and then I am making the second part of this order. So the first thing I have is this sea turtle. This is done primarily in Parfait Chunky. So this is Goblin, one of the new colors, and then I'm blanking on what this color exactly is called. So I have this one. Pretty much the only thing this thing needs is to be fastened off, and then for me to do the eyeballs and the nose details. And then I have another one that I am making in this blue. I've got some of the shell pieces and everything started. Now, fair warning, I don't consider this a beginner pattern. I can't remember what it's marketed as, but when I was reading the reviews for this pattern, a lot of people were saying how easy it was, how it didn't take that much time. I'm gonna beg to differ. Unless I've just gotten really bad at crocheting, this was a very difficult pattern. Or it was, I guess you could say, very time consuming. This is not a quick, easy pattern. While it is no-so, I feel like you make up for it in the work of just like having to make like the shell, and wow, it's a lot. And honestly, I have been dreading making the second one, which is what has pushed me back so much on completing this. Like, I don't know if I would offer this to everybody. Like, I guess if they were willing to pay the price that I gave this person, I would consider it. But this is not a pattern that I foresee myself making for a market. There's zero way. I would like maybe get one piece done and then drop it. But I do have this one done. I am working on the blue one. Pretty much I have been spending like 30 minutes, 40 minutes every single night just making pieces for it. Those 30-40 minutes are the times that I typically would spend editing a YouTube video, so that's one of the reasons I haven't been able to edit one. I am hoping to have this hopefully done by this week, or pretty good progress considering the fact that I'll have the other roses done. So those are the 2 orders I've had. We will briefly touch on the patterns that I have tested recently. I have not made my February wrap up and it is literally the end of March. I'm so sorry about that. I will probably end up combining February and March maybe once things settle down, or maybe I'll just record it at a later date. Like I said, I have just had zero time to sit down and edit and record, and there's been a lot of noise in my house. So I just haven't really done anything per se, but I'll show you the ones that I've just recently pattern test. I am totally not going to remember who made these pattern wise, but I will try and include their names below, or you'll see it flash up on the screen. So the first one I have that just released is this Cozy Kitty. So I was chosen to test the axolotl version of this pattern. The pattern comes with axolotl, frog, and I believe duck. I believe it's duck, and I think there might be more mods in the future, but I know those are the base 3. So I made this one originally. I was going back and forth on the colors for the body, but I did decide, since I was going to do pink, to do black because I felt like it would contrast really nice. Now this was probably my last skein of decent Sweet Snuggles light pink and it took about almost a whole skein to do it, but this was my last good one, so that was a little bit sad. I ended up deciding to do the faux fur on the tail as well as the hood detail, and then I painted the eyes. It's really hard to see them in this light because we're in my room, but I love how the eyes turned out. It is a fairly big plushie and fairly hefty. It's definitely not one of the smallest things I've made, but it turned out super cute and I really like it. So I'm really interested to see how people like it, but I will have to price it a little bit more because of the fact that it is just so big and took up so much yarn and everything to make it. The next one I have is the squirrel that I finished up for Pebbles Crochet. This is one of her snuggler versions. Now this time, and this has been the only time so far that I have actually stuffed her pattern. So if you guys are interested in getting her patterns, but you guys want to stuff them, you can. The biggest thing I believe is if you're doing the body and the half double crochets is the tension, because if your tension's super loose, then yes, I do think you'll probably have problems with stuffing coming out, but I work everything pretty tight, and even though I use a 5, I would say probably tight tension. I had no problems with like stuffing or anything coming out, but if you do it, just stuff it like halfway. Don't overstuff. You kind of want to go for just like a good squish to its body. So I have this Squirtle. Sorry guys if there's a lot of noise in the background. I literally only feel like recording this right now. I'm so sorry. I have this chinchilla that I finished up. This is Boo, and it has a faux fur for the tail. This backpack is removable. You just take the little straps off its arms and everything. And the whole purpose, I believe, was to have the ladybug, that if you wanted to put the ladybug in the backpack, you could. But since this is going to be going to markets, I try and sew down as many pieces as possible because this tiny little ladybug would totally disappear at a market. It would just fly away. So I sewed the ladybug down, and then it just has its little backpack, and I cut the nose out using my machine, and then I painted these eyes. Still one of my favorite eyes to paint, and the option for this is on my Etsy. I think it ended up super cute. I knew when I saw there was a chinchilla that I had to make the chinchilla. This isn't Sweet Snuggles light. I think that if you made it in something like Parfait or something smaller, it definitely would turn out to be smaller, because I think even I was pretty surprised how big this ended up coming out, but it's still adorable either way. This is one of my newer pattern tests. This is Echo, and this is for a creator that I have tested for before for my Jester Bunny, and I was super excited to be chosen again, and I knew right away what colors I wanted to do, which is the new colors from Premier. The body color is maize and the red accents are candy apple. Now originally I was planning on using big twist faux fur down the spine to do all of the details, but I ended up deciding against it. That faux fur is something else. I don't mind faux fur, and I've worked with Hobby Lobby. That stuff is not the same quality as Hobby Lobby. It splits and it frays. I have so much of it, so I need to figure out a way to incorporate it more into my projects, but I did just end up deciding to keep the weight consistent and use Premier to go down the back and everything. I did the little wings in red. You can use them in the body color as well. And then just sewing these little spots. I painted these eyes as well just for this guy because I wanted it to have some red and yellows in it. And I think it turned out super cute. I absolutely love this yellow and this color combination. Like, it definitely gives very much fall, but I still think it's an adorable fall. So I have this little guy. His pattern is not released when I'm recording this. It can be released later. It's not released when I'm recording this video. And then the last pattern test I have to show you guys is the Glaceon by Pebbles Crochet. So like I said, I did not stuff this body. This was before the Squirtle. Squirtle was my first attempt at stuffing. And I painted the eyes. These are one of my favorite colors of eyes to make. I just absolutely love them. They remind me of the ocean. I love the green in them. I love the dark blue person right here. So I think it ended up turning out super adorable. I am slowly accumulating a little like evolution little family, so I'm super excited about that too. I always love working her patterns, so I'm always super thankful. Now let's go over everything that I've made recently that is not a pattern test and not in order. I have made quite a few things. I've sold quite a few things. I was really hoping to keep on to a lot of this stuff for my market, but it's like I post it and then somebody messages me and I'm kind of like one of those people. It's like, oh my god, I can't turn down money, so I get stuck in an even more panic. So again, I'm going to show you guys these ones first. His little hair is a little bit squished because he's been in the box. But the first one I have is this troll, and this is by Wonder Crochet. I knew when I saw it I wanted to make it because of the hair. That was the big thing. I just really like anything that has like different textures. I definitely feel like I'm getting a lot more into experimenting with my crochet with different textures, different yarn types. Definitely was something that I never did before. But this year I definitely was doing all these pattern testing, have really dived more into like just experimenting more with crochet. Have this little guy. I want to hopefully make another one of these. Now I am waiting on Hobie to send me my yarn. I think I bought like 60 skeins. I don't have room for yarn. That's like, I'm exploding. I've got 4 boxes under the table in my whole yarn room. But I bought more yarn and I need it for the body color, and as you can tell, the skein was a little iffy, but I felt like it kind of could fit in with the troll vibes. I definitely want to experiment more with making dolls. I know, guys, that's crazy. And I'm currently picking off fuzzies because like I put it in the same thing as that faux fur cat and it's got a little pink fuzzies. But the first little one I made was Snow White. Sorry guys, her hair is a bit crazy. So the first one I made was Snow White. Our hair is a little bit crazy because I haven't had time to style it, but I made this one and I think it turned out super cute. The hair on dolls is always like my worst nightmare. But I made this one and I'm pretty certain it's sold, so I actually need to put this one aside and not put it in a box. I don't know how many more dolls I'll be able to get to. I want to make some more, but it's not my priority. I do feel like if I make one more doll, I'm really interested in making Belle, which is really funny because I am not the biggest Disney princess person. Honestly, my favorite Disney princess is Pocahontas, so most people don't seem to talk about Pocahontas that much, but that is by far my favorite Disney princess, or Mulan, but I definitely think Pocahontas ranks on top. Probably Pocahontas, Mulan, and then I don't care who comes after that. I made this one, so if I had time, I feel like Belle would be best because she's a pretty popular princess, but I'm not putting a super ton of time into this. This will probably be like a after this market type of thing because there's some other things that I have that probably should take priority on what I make. So let's move on to some of these smaller items. Now, I have a lot of items that I need to finish up still, and I have some that I sold, so we're just gonna try and get through this. The first ones I'll show you guys are these little flower petal buddies. So I originally had one in this color and it sold pretty much right away. So I had to make another one, but I did a different pink. The first pink I did for the rim was Premier. This one is Hobie, or Hobby, however you say it. And then this one is Premier. This is that goblin color that I think is so pretty. But I made 2 of these and I think they're super cute. You will see that I am making sets of Winnie the Pooh characters. So I ended up finding this creator, and I will link them or tag them or whatever, that made like the Disney princesses. She had some other little things, and I am doing all of these in Premiere, so they're staying pretty small, so I can price them pretty okay. They don't take too long to make, well, unless you get into the heavier embroidery ones, which I do have. But I wanted to find some smaller Winnie the Poohs because I do get asked about Winnie the Poohs. I used to have my super expensive Winnie the Pooh. That was definitely the #1 thing I heard from people, was like, do you have smaller Winnie the Poohs? So I'm trying to fill that demand. So I have 2 of these. I definitely think they'll sell out first, but I've never done this pattern before and I don't really have time to make a lot more with everything else on my list. If these sell super well, then I know going into the future that I'm gonna make more of this particular one, but the whole mindset is I have 2 of these piglets. So I don't know if you're seeing a theme. I have in the works 2 Tiggers and then 2 Eeyores. Technically, I would have 2 full sets of the characters, but technically just 2 of each. So that's where I was like, I know Winnie the Pooh always sells well, but I don't want to make a ton of Winnie the Pooh because I want it to be kind of like if someone wanted to have a set. I might technically offer a discount if somebody wanted to buy all 4 together, so they have like the whole trio, but I'm just starting with 2 each, see how they do. I don't always do character work, but I feel like people definitely ask for character work sometimes, and honestly, I'm getting so bored. I feel like that's gonna be the very common thing. It's just me. I'm just getting bored of making things. Like, there are so many patterns that I had to do, like turtles and possums and all this stuff, that I'm just so sick and tired of making. So I've been exploring other things and things that are a little bit more challenging. So that's where this stuff kind of starts to fall into it, where it's like not too big, but like not too small and not too boring, because there are some patterns I'm definitely getting very burnt out over, and I'm not trying to stress myself too much over it, because at the same time, like, every market I do has like 5 other crocheters. Out of 5 crocheters, there's gonna be someone with turtles besides me. So I'm not really worried. Somebody else can have the turtle demand. I don't necessarily want it anymore. I have 2 of these cardinals. I've made these cardinals before. I took 2 of them to the store, made 2 more to get up to 4. I made 1 of the little ravens. I'm not really sold on this. So originally I was planning on 4. I made 1, not super sold on it. Also turned out so much smaller, which I don't know how, because their base patterns are all the same. But I just made 1. I'm gonna see how it goes. Yeah, I'm not super convinced about this one. You're gonna see that a lot of these patterns are made by Madeline Mako coming up, because like that one, the 2 birds were, because I'm part of her Patreon, so I have all these patterns that I get with Patreon, and I felt like I needed to use them instead of just like sitting on all these patterns. So I have 2 Highland cows. I haven't made the normal cow. Don't know if I'll get to it, but I have made the specialty cows of hers. Then I have 2 of the longhorns, and it's the same pattern, but just modified to have the longhorn version of them. I have 2 of her mouses. This is an unreleased pattern that you have to be part of the Patreon to get, but I made 2 of these little mouses. I have 2 of her bum buns. These are made in the Chanel Bloom, I believe is what you call it. So I made 2 of these, and I've also made a Feels Like Bliss version, but that one already sold, so I will be starting the Feels Like Bliss versions again once I get through my roses. I have this little panda. I originally thought it was going to be so much bigger. It turned out so small, so I'm not planning on making any more, but I have 1 off of this. I have this little dog that's made by the same person as the panda. Super small as well, but I'm considering making more of these, but it's not like a priority. I have so many other things on my list that are definitely higher priority than making a tiny little dog. I'm a little bit too lazy to go grab them, but I have 4 of these roosters. These are the normal roosters I make all the time by Harder Crochets, and I think I have 8 in total now. I have 2 of these little caterpillars. This is part of the big bundle of insects. I have 2 more of these caterpillars that I am sewing eyes onto, so they will be kid safe, but I just made 2 of these little ones. This is a new shark pattern that I'm going to be trying out. So I have this one. In total, I have 4 of them right here. I have not tried this shark pattern before. My previous shark patterns did not sell well besides my hammerhead shark. So I'm very interested to see how these guys will do. I think they are smaller, they have different expressions, they look mean, so I'm hoping they maybe appeal to little boys, so we'll see how these guys go. The last things I have to show you are these 4 puddles. This is by Madeline Mako, and I did these in Feels Like Bliss. I remember saying that I hated Feels Like Bliss, but now that I've worked with it more, and now that I've worked with so much more fur, I can confidently say this is not that bad. I feel like the biggest thing with this particular yarn is your tension, and especially your tension holding the yarn. I can't tell you how many times where I had way too tight of a tension, and then I would miss a stitch and then I would accidentally pull out all of the yarn, not from my hook hand but from my tension hand. So I feel like you just have to have a really good tension when working with this yarn. And you guys can't see it, but I also weighted their little tummies, so there's beads in them, so they I don't know if this shows, but they have weight to them. So I'm doing them with all of my Feels Like Bliss plushies that I'm making this time around. I am putting little weights in their tummies to just kind of give it a little bit more, because I feel like they're kind of small, and then I can justify asking a little bit more money, I guess you could say. So guys, that's everything that I have crocheted recently. I know, not that much, but I have had so much going on, and I'm a little bit nervous with my market coming up, but you know, a girl's gonna do what a girl's gonna do. I'm gonna try my best. That's all I can say. Please be patient with me with all these videos. I have a very special video series coming out. That's gonna be 4 videos, and it's gonna be all about me updating my booth setup for this upcoming year. I'm doing a lot of things, so I'm gonna be making a video on each of the 4 things that I purchased to show you guys how I'm gonna be using it and whatnot. So you guys can look forward to that video, and then as for everything else, I can't promise. So I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.